Welcome to a Chesapeake Public Schools Family Empowerment webinar presented by the Office of Family and Community Engagement. Our office, which is part of the Department of Engagement, aims to build meaningful partnerships that inspire, engage, and empower families, educators, and community organizations to support the initiatives of Chesapeake Public Schools. You can reach us at our main phone line or via email at the contact information listed on the screen. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to working together to strengthen our community and support our students. Our goal is to continue providing families with valuable webinars, events, and information to empower them in the educational setting. We're excited to offer our families the Peak Parent University course catalog, which provides an overview of all of our events for the school year. Here, you can also catch up on pre-recorded webinars, explore a wide range of educational resources, and make valuable community connections to enhance your family's well-being. Please take a moment to scan the QR code, which will give you access to our Peak Parent University. This will provide you with monthly updates, including descriptions, times, and locations of upcoming events. Thank you for joining us for the Moving Up to Middle School webinar. We're excited to welcome a panel of knowledgeable educators to help you navigate the first year of middle school. We will hear from an administrator, counselor, teacher, student, and student activities coordinator who will all offer advice from their perspective to help you have a successful school year. First, let's hear some advice from one of our middle school administrators.
Hi, Chesapeake family. My name's Meredith Smith. I am an assistant principal at Hickory Middle School. This is my 5th year. I cannot believe it, going into Hickory. I'm actually born and raised in Chesapeake, Virginia. My kids live here, and I've just absolutely loved living in this community. So I'm here to talk to you today about moving up to the moving up to middle school. And I'm really excited to do this and very honored that I was asked to do it. So when I thought and reflected on things that I would want to share with parents and students about moving up to middle, I came up with a few ideas that you currently see on your screen. And so I'm going to go through these things with you just to kind of talk a little bit more about how this is going to play out for you and your student the next 3 years. So buckle up and get excited. Okay, so the first part is navigating the logistics. Something that a lot of parents may not think about sending their student to middle school is they're going from being in one main classroom for most of the day to 6 or 7 different classrooms throughout the day. And that means different teachers as well. So my advice to you is to print or handwrite several copies of their schedule, including room numbers, teacher names, all of those things. Because here's something that we wouldn't think about. We have students say, okay, I have PE bell 6. Well, guess what? They go to the gym, but we have 5, 6, 7, 8 PE teachers. They don't know who their PE teacher is. And then the last thing that we want is your student to feel stressed or upset or anxious about their first day in middle school. So having their schedule, several copies in different locations, highly, highly recommend that. Open house. All of our schools provide an opportunity for families to come and visit their school and meet their teachers. This is a great opportunity to take advantage of, especially for your student entering a brand new environment, which is middle school. During this time, they get to explore the building. They get to navigate where their teachers are. They get to walk through what their day looks like. I highly, highly recommend this. It does not take much time out of your day to do that, but this is really going to help decrease the amount of anxiety that your child might be feeling of going to a much larger school with more kids and more teachers and a whole new layout. So highly recommend attending open house. So the next part we're going to look at is staying connected at home. Middle school is an amazing time, but it's also a time of a lot of change. In comparison to infancy and toddlerhood, the next time a child's brain is changing so rapidly is actually during the time that they're in middle school. So it's important to remember that. So something that my husband and I do with our own kids, and I highly encourage this to happen at home, is we ask 3 questions every day. Those 3 questions are, tell me something that you learned today. One thing you learned today. The second one is name one thing that happened today that made you laugh or smile, because let's be honest, it's going to be important for you as the parent and for your student to be able to laugh things off and to smile. So we always ask them, what's something that made you laugh or smile today? It could have been you did something nice for somebody else, or your teacher did something really silly that just made you laugh, whatever the case may be. And then the third thing is name one thing that you are proud of or that you are grateful for today. And I encourage this question specifically because middle school is a time where students start to become more self-conscious. They have to work on their confidence, and they're changing, and they're trying to impress others. So it's really, really important for them to talk about themselves and to talk about something that they're proud of or that they're grateful for, because this is a time where they're really starting to become, teenagers and then eventually young adults. And then the next thing would be safety. Safety to me and to everybody in Chesapeake Public Schools is non-negotiable. But we also know in middle school, lots of things are happening. And during that time, middle schoolers often don't want to be labeled as a tattletale, or sometimes they call it a snitch. So something that I would highly encourage your student, there are ways that they can report information as long as it's not emergent, right? As long as it's not involving their immediate safety or the safety of others, there are ways that they can report information that their peers do not have to know about. We have Gmail. All of our children have email accounts, and so do our staff. And so something that we encourage in our building is students can email their teacher, a trusted teacher, their administrator, their guidance counselor. And again, I want to reiterate, as long as it's not an emergency situation, if it's safety of themselves or somebody else is at risk or even potentially at risk, that's something that we want reported right away. But students in middle school are starting to become more independent, and they also want some sort of privacy, and they don't want to put themselves out there as being the person that told on another student. So there are ways that they're able to do this without even anybody knowing about it except the person that's receiving the message. So highly encourage that. And then getting involved in your school community. This is really, really important. In middle school, students really start to explore their interests. Are they interested in theater production? Are they interested in student council where they get to be involved in making decisions for the school? Are they wanting to play a sport? We have an awesome athletic program in Chesapeake Public Schools. And so there's so many different opportunities that students get to explore in middle school, where not only do they get to find something they're passionate about, they also get to form their friend groups and find friends with similar interests. So I highly, highly encourage you to encourage your student to get involved in the school community, and parents as well. We love when parents come in and help us during the day or at school events. I absolutely love partnering with parents. So highly recommend having your student get involved in finding something that they're enjoying. It could be being in band or chorus or orchestra. But there's just a lot of different opportunities that might not be there for elementary, but in middle school, we've got a lot. And then my last piece of advice, and this is the biggest one, and I tell students this all the time. Be kind, be humble, be truthful, and be you. And elaborating into that, being kind, it doesn't cost anything, and it's not hard. Middle school is a time of change and a big time of development. It's really, really important that students just be kind. And if somebody else isn't being kind, they walk away and let somebody know. Being kind doesn't cost a thing. The second part, being humble. Sometimes we have to take the high road. Sometimes we have to walk away from a situation that we have no control over and know that it's okay. And sometimes we have to know that everybody has differences and it's okay. Middle schools have a lot of students in them. and a lot of students with differences. No matter what, it's important to stay humble and kind when you're in the school community. Be truthful. This is a big one coming from an administrator. Sometimes telling the truth is hard. Actually, usually telling the truth can be very hard. But the truth is never going to put you in the wrong direction. If you ever have to talk to a teacher or a counselor or an administrator, please encourage your student to always be truthful. It's important that staff and you as their parent trust your child. Last but not least, be you. Be your authentic self. Be proud of who you are. Encourage your student to love who they are. And I circle back to staying connected at home. Talk to your kids. Let's not say, how was your day? Or what'd you do today? Because a lot of times, guess what the answer is going to be? I don't know. Fine. It was good, I guess. Open up those conversations. Have them name something they learned. Have them name something that made them laugh or smile, and have them name something that they're proud of or they're grateful for. Those are going to open up those conversations. I'm so, again, grateful to be able to be here and offer some advice. I love working with middle school. It's so much fun. The student that you meet in the fall is not the student that you're going to see in June, and that's really something special. And so, parents, I know middle school can be scary, but middle school can be awesome. It really, really, really can be. But keeping those lines of communication open, making sure your students have their schedules, making sure they know their bus routes, making sure they understand safety, but they also understand that we do respect privacy and that we also have wonderful opportunities for them to find and explore what they're interested in and what they're passionate about and form their circle of friends. I hope you all have a great, great school year. Again, my name's Meredith Smith. I'm over at Hickory Middle. And I am so excited for the 26-27 school year. And next, we're going to hear from a guidance counselor, and I know they're going to have some really fun things to share with you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Dangerfield, and I am a sixth grade counselor at Deep Creek Middle School. I want to share a few tips that can help make moving up to middle school successful and hopefully a little bit less stressful. One of the most important things is to be open to new experiences. Middle school is different in the sense that they have different clubs, sports, and activities that you can join and become a part of after school. Just because you haven't tried something in the past or you don't feel like that you would be good at something doesn't mean you shouldn't try it, because even trying things out that you may not like at first could turn into something that you have a passion for. Remember that everyone is a beginner at first. So if you feel nervous, that's totally normal. But middle school as a sixth grader is new for everyone. Another important thing is time management. If you are planning to join a club or a sport after school, you're going to have to make sure that you're organized. One of the biggest things is that you're moving from having just one teacher and one class every day to multiple teachers, multiple classrooms. And that puts a lot more responsibility on you to become organized and to make sure that you're tracking all of your assignments. I usually recommend students to purchase a planner or some sort of a calendar to help keep track of all of those assignments, because it adds up and you can get busy very quickly. I also believe that developing organization habits will make middle school easier overall, because your homework and your responsibilities are likely going to increase. If you set aside a regular time each day to study and work on assignments, it can actually help you reduce stress so that you're not waiting until the last minute to get everything done. It is important to advocate for yourself. Teachers have many students that they have to worry about with grades and assignments, and they're not going to always know if you're struggling unless you tell them. It's okay to ask questions and ask for help when you need it. If you're uncomfortable asking for help and raising your hand in the middle of the class, find another way to communicate with your teacher to let them know that you need that additional assistance. I usually suggest having students send their teacher an email on their Chromebook if they don't want to raise their hand during class, or you could even wait until class is done and go to the teacher before switching classes to let them know that you might need a little bit of extra help when they're available. Taking responsibility for your choices is very important when it comes to being successful in middle school and developing meaningful friendships and lasting relationships. It's important that you arrive prepared each day, remember your materials, and you're following both school expectations as well as classroom expectations that your teachers have set for you. It's okay if you make a mistake, own it, and take responsibility, because honesty is always best. It's important that you embrace these mistakes as part of learning, because you're not going to have everything figured out on the first day or maybe even the first few weeks. And that's completely normal because middle school is a big time for growth. So it's really important to develop healthy habits as you transition into middle school, because your brain and your body, they're growing so quickly, and how you treat them can greatly affect your mood as well as your grades and how successful you are. You want to make sure that you're getting at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep each night, and that you're putting your phones and electronics away before bed. In the mornings, even if you're not a breakfast person, try to grab something so that you can have a little bit of fuel to start your day, because you need energy in order to stay awake and to be alert and so that you can learn. Be open to new friendships. Your social circle is naturally going to shift because you're going to be meeting new people as well as reconnecting with old friendships. Make sure that just because you don't have classes with some of your friends, that doesn't mean that you're never going to see them again. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. You might be able to see them at lunch if you join a club together after school, or you may have your elective or gem classes together. Also, make sure that you are kind. Sit next to someone new at lunch and say hi in the hallway, or pick up something if you find that somebody has dropped something in the hallway. Just do things to be kind and know that everyone wants to be included. Look for other ways to make people feel welcome. And everyone is always a little bit nervous when they think about starting middle school. Everyone is adjusting. Middle school is a very exciting new chapter. So as long as you're willing to try new things, ask for help when you need it, stay organized, and just remember that everybody is learning and growing at the same time. Keep a positive attitude and mindset, and you will be successful in middle school. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to a teacher who's going to share some advice with you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Hi, my name is Ms. Gabriel, and I am a 6th grade civics teacher at Oscar Smith Middle. And I have some pieces of advice just as you're making this transition from elementary school into middle school. I know it can seem scary and maybe even a little overwhelming, but there will be people with you supporting you every step of the way. You are about to enter such an exciting period in your academic career. You get to experience such a variety of teaching styles. In elementary school, I know that maybe we were used to staying in the same classroom all day, but you guys get to move around. And with moving classrooms does come a variety of different teachers and a lot of different learning strategies that maybe you haven't been exposed to before. And you guys will be able to get to explore like how you learn best and maybe what strategies work best for what subjects. You also will have electives this year. So you will have not just your 4 content teachers, but you will have a variety of different teachers down into your electives where you will get to explore so many different classes and just really broaden your education in that way as well. And those can be really, really fun. So I encourage you to just keep an open mind to new experiences and new ideas as you are being exposed to these different teaching styles and all of your different teachers. You might be able to connect with one teacher on one thing and making a connection with a different teacher on like a TV show you guys watch at the same time, or sports, or just sports teams, interests, and things like that. So it's very exciting that you guys are going to be able to meet different teachers and see the different ways that they conduct their classrooms. The next thing is that you can explore your interests as well. Middle school has a bunch of opportunities for you guys to get involved in your school a little bit more than you were maybe in middle school. There are so many different sports that you guys can try, and they are offered all year long, starting with in the fall. Then there's winter sports. There are also spring sports as well. So even if you don't feel comfortable joining one in the fall, you can join up in the winter or in the spring. And I would encourage you to just try out for a new sport that maybe you were interested in, or maybe you watch on TV. Just go to some practices and see if you like that. There's also clubs that you can join. A lot of schools have a bunch of different clubs where you get to meet different people, really dive deep into some of your interests, maybe like games or like cards clubs, just things like that where you get to really connect with people that have the same niche interests as you. In those elective classes as well, you get to try out some of the maybe some things that you didn't get to try in elementary school, like chorus or band, and you will have gym class this year. So you will get to go run around for a little bit, and you'll get exposed to many different activities during those classes as well. You also will be able to have the opportunity to meet new people. The classes are going to be a little bit more diverse this year for you, meaning that there's going to be students that you have not seen in elementary school or in intermediate school, where you're going to be exposed to a lot of different people, and you will get to have classes with some new people, maybe some new faces that you haven't seen before. Your new best friend could be waiting in, the person that you sit next to on the first day. So it's really exciting. You get to learn from them. You get to learn as much as from your peers as really you could learn from your teachers this year. The last one I would say is that you have the unique opportunity to start learning how to take ownership of your learning. It's really exciting because you're going to be, like I said, exposed to so many different teaching styles, so many different strategies, and you get to take that and customize your learning. So maybe you see a strategy in civics that you're like, oh, that would work perfectly for math. So you get to put those things together and be like, okay, so I like to study this way, or I like to have handwritten notes. And you guys have a little bit more freedom to make those decisions when it comes to your own education. Now, with a little bit more freedom does come a little bit more responsibility. It's going to be more on you just a little bit to keep track of your assignments, to stay a little bit more organized, as you will have a little bit more of like a caseload, a little bit more of a class load this year. But again, you will have teachers that are going to help you with that as well. So in closing, like middle school is a large transition for you guys, but you really will, after the first day, you're going to feel like experts. After you get that first day, you're going to be like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's going to get more comfortable and more comfortable as the year goes on. And there's going to be so many people that are excited to guide you every step of the way. So moving on, we are going to hear from a student that's going to offer you wonderful pieces of advice.
Academic experience and expectations. In middle school, you will get 4 core teachers, 1 PE teacher, and an extracurricular teacher. You will be on a team. Your team is based on who your teachers are. And heads up, just because you're on the same team as one of your friends, that doesn't mean you will have all the same classes. If you have questions, make sure to ask them to your teachers. They know you are new to middle school and they are ready to help you. Homework depends on the teacher. Pay attention to the deadlines. Some teachers will assign all of your homework for the week on a Monday, and it won't be due until Friday. This gives you the opportunity to manage your own work time. Middle school is a new way of learning, so don't get stressed about it. Remind yourself that everyone else is new too. Extracurriculars and clubs. Each club has a teacher sponsor. There are many clubs and you can sign up for as many as you want. Just make sure you can participate. I participated in Wildcat Orchestra, Yearbook, and Homeroom Representative. Clubs can fit with your timeline. It made me difficult to participate in clubs because of my sport, but you can always talk to your club sponsors to make sure you can find a day where you can fit your time. My top 3 tips. Time management. It's not easy the first time. I made a lot of mistakes in my 6th grade year, but now I feel pretty confident. Communicate with your teachers. You can do this in person, or you can use their school email or Canvas Messenger. They appreciate if you take the first step. Don't give up when things are difficult or when they feel too challenging, because they always look harder than it seems. Make new friends. Remember, you are all new to school, and you will likely not know all the kids in your class, because middle school gets students from many elementary or any intermediate schools.
Hello and thank you. I'm Mike Trebus. I'm the coordinator of student activities for Chesapeake Public Schools, and we welcome you to this webinar about middle school athletics. Chesapeake Middle School League is also known as CMSL, and we offer several sports and activities for our middle schools. I'm going to dive right in and let you know the sport offerings and activity offerings. In the fall, we have football, softball, cheerleading, girls soccer, and competition cheer. In the winter, we have boys and girls basketball, wrestling, and sideline cheer. In the spring, we have boys and girls track and field, soccer, boys soccer, field hockey, and volleyball. Our activities are speech and debate. For eligibility, we do require our student athletes to be students first. So first and foremost, they must be academically eligible. We have a 2.0 GPA requirement, and students must pass 4 classes in the previous 9 weeks, 2 of which must be a core class. And in regards to citizenship, we require that our students understand and parents understand that being part of an activity is a privilege and not a right. And we are dependent upon compliance with all applicable rules in the CMSL handbook, the school board of Chesapeake Public Schools, and school rules and team regulations that are set forth by the athletic director, principal, and coach. Sportsmanship is a key factor in what we are looking forward to for our student athletes that participate for Chesapeake Middle School League. It is a primary goal of all of our extracurricular programs that all of our student athletes promote good sportsmanship, ethical behavior, and integrity. We expect that practices and competitions, just as like we do in the classroom, it is an extension of our classroom, as we are an educational sports institution. All coaches and student athletes and parents must complete the sportsmanship pledge each year, and by doing so, they sign an acknowledgement form that they have read that and understand sportsmanship. It's very key. CPS commitment. CPS is committed to a safe practice and provides a sports concussion management plan that we have yearly that we review, and that is available on our CPS website. We want to educate our parents, our student athletes, coaches, and teachers about concussions and the inherent risks that go along with playing contact sports. Some of the key guidelines: if a student athlete exhibits or reports any symptoms of a concussion, they will be removed from practice or play immediately. Parents are notified on the day of the injury. A proper medical evaluation by a licensed healthcare professional, not a parent or guardian, with training in concussion evaluation and management is required. Clearance to return to play is a medical decision. This licensed healthcare professional provides clearance. Student athletes cannot participate while experiencing any lingering symptoms. It must be completely symptom-free at rest and during physical and mental exertion with neurocognitive functioning return to baseline. So that is our health and safety that we overlook in regards to concussions. Each school does have an athletic trainer on site that can help treat any acute injuries. But most importantly, we want to make sure that we communicate and understand the risks of playing contact sports and concussions. Communication is a key role in anything, but especially with coaches that might be in our buildings or outside of our buildings. So we encourage open communications with our coaches and athletic directors. CPS wants to make sure that our parents and athletes and coaches are all on the same page and discuss any concerns that you may have as a parent with the appropriate setting time and place in regards to your coaches. We do ask that you adhere to a 24-hour rule when it comes to coaches, that you do not engage in confrontation or conversations with them at the conclusion of an event. We wanted to make sure that we have time to settle and think about what those things that we want to discuss. And so we ask that you do adhere to that and set up a time and a place to meet with the coach and maybe possibly the athletic director and principal. So we greatly appreciate you in helping out with regards to communication. Appropriate concerns to discuss will be issues of mental and physical well-being, strategies for maybe improving individual performance, issues or behavior. Some of the concerns that's probably inappropriate to discuss is playing time, starting positions, team strategy, play calling, or other athletes. We leave that up to the coaching staff. Conflict resolution. Ideally, conflicts are resolved between the athlete and the coach. If unresolved, again, assistance with the athletic director or principal may be needed. And so, again, we ask that you adhere to the 24-hour rule and having those kind of conversations if there is a conflict or a concern with your student. Again, every parent and athlete has access to the parent-athlete handbook that is on the CPS website. We do encourage you to read over that and read all the policies and rules and regulations. In regards to the CMSL, there are some acknowledgement forms that you will have to complete, and we ask that you do that in a timely manner. We do ask that you all attend the preseason meetings that are set forth by the coaches and or athletic director at the schools. We ask that all of our parents and guardians attend those to ask any questions or concerns they might have for their individual that's participating. Again, there's a lot of forms that might be included in that handbook, consent forms, especially physical forms. Obviously, every student athlete must have a physical on file in order to participate in athletics, and those are rotating on a 14-month expiration date. So if you received a physical on June 1st, it is good until August 1st of the following year. Again, familiarize yourself with the concussion management plan and impact testing for particular sports that do the impact testing. And again, if you have any questions or concerns specific to your student athlete and their school, I do ask that you contact the school. Every middle school has a student activities coordinator that oversees athletics, and every high school has a high school athletic director as well, if you want to get some information about the high school athletic director for the near future. Again, we look forward to a great, successful year, and we wish you all the very best. And again, if you need any information, please contact your school's student activities coordinators for more information. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our panelists for that wealth of information. Should you have any questions about this webinar or need additional information and/or resources, please contact us at face@cpschools.com. Keep in mind that Let's Talk is the perfect two-way communication for any comments, questions, suggestions, or concerns that you may have. Also, you can stay connected to Chesapeake Public Schools through the different platforms listed on the screen. Make sure you scan the QR code to download our app to receive notifications about important events. And remember, families and communities work better together.